Hey, welcome. If you're here looking to understand and heal from family trauma, you've already taken a massive first step. So today, we're going to dive into the work of Dr. Lane Lasater and focus on a really critical part of the journey, preparation. Think of it like getting in shape for the work you've got ahead of you.
I just love starting with this idea. It's so powerful, right? It really sets the stage for everything we're talking about today. Because this whole journey, it's about learning how to consciously choose our thoughts, which then choose our actions and ultimately help us build a brand new, healthier destiny for ourselves. Okay, so here's what we've got on tap. We're going to start by figuring out exactly where you are in the process. Then we'll get into the tools you're going to need, like caring for your inner self, changing that inner voice, and creating two really powerful personal plans. And then we'll wrap up by looking at the road ahead. All right, let's get into it. Seriously, just by being here, you've already made some incredible progress. You're in what we call the preparation stage. And I absolutely love this analogy of training for a marathon. I mean, you wouldn't just roll out of bed and run 26 miles, right? Of course not. You'd train, you'd build up your stamina, you'd get the right gear. Well, that is exactly what this stage is all about.
And check this out. You can see exactly where preparation fits into the whole picture. Just look at all the work you've already done to get here. You've recognized the issue, you found hope, you've gotten clear, and you've made the decision to change. That's huge. Now, right here at step 5, this is where you gather your strength to finally transform those patterns that have been around for a long, long time. Now, a huge part of this training is about turning our focus inward. It's really about learning to care for the parts of ourselves that were hurt or maybe didn't get what they needed, especially that child we once were who, still lives inside all of us. So, to help us get our heads around this, we can use a really cool framework called transactional analysis. Basically, it's this idea that we all have an internal team, or you could say 3 distinct selves, that guide how we think, feel, and act. So picture this as your inner team. You've got the parent part, which makes judgments and choices. You've got the adult, which is all about your knowledge, your competence, your problem-solving skills. And then you have the child. This is where all your emotions, your intuition, your creativity, and your spontaneity live. Now, for so many of us who are healing from trauma, a lot of the work is about learning how to reparent this inner child. This means using your wise adult self to figure out what that child needs, and then using your nurturing parent self to give it comfort and set healthy boundaries. It's about creating a safe space inside so that that playful, joyful part of you can finally come out and play again. One of the most powerful ways we can start nurturing that inner self is by changing the way we talk to ourselves. So many of us carry around this really harsh inner critic, right? It's a voice that kind of echoes negative things we might have heard growing up, and it just keeps those old feelings of shame alive and kicking. Man, this quote just hits home, doesn't it? Our internal monologue, it has a real, tangible effect on us. If we're constantly telling ourselves ghost stories, well, it's no surprise we feel anxious and insecure. But here's the kicker, and this is so important. We are the ones telling the story. We actually have the power to pick up the pen and write a different one. And this is what that rewrite looks like in real time. It's about catching that critical voice and interrupting it. So instead of, I'm such a failure, you pause and reframe, I didn't know how to do it differently back then. Instead of, I'm doing something wrong, you shift to, I'm learning as I go. See that? It's a small shift from judgment to compassion, but it can make your inner world a whole lot safer and kinder.
Okay, time to get practical. The first of 2 really key exercises here is creating your own self-care plan. I want you to think of this as your daily training regimen. These are the things you'll do day in and day out to build the strength you're going to need for this journey.
So before we even look at the fancy structure, just take a second, ask yourself this question. What do you need to do on a regular basis to feel happy, healthy, and calm? What are the things, big or small, that truly fill you up? That's the real foundation for everything we're about to build. So your plan is going to be built around these 6 key areas, these 6 pillars. And this is a totally holistic approach. We're not just talking about diet and exercise. It's also about connecting with your people, finding meaning in what you do, maybe making time for a spiritual practice. And this is just as important, actually scheduling time for recreation and fun. All right, now for the second big exercise, mapping out your recovery path. This is where you get crystal clear on where you are right now, those survival patterns, and then you create this amazing vision for where you want to go, what we're going to call your freedom patterns. This chart from Dr. Lasater's work is a fantastic place to start. It lays out some of the most common survival patterns. So, for example, under enduring emotional adjustments, you might see things like unstable self-worth or finding it hard to trust people. Or maybe something under self-defeating life patterns, like codependency, kind of jumps out at you. Just take a look, scan it, and see if anything clicks. And remember, this is not about judgment at all. It's just about identifying your starting point on the map.
Building this plan is a super simple 3-step process. Step 1, just name the pattern. Step 2, describe in your own words what that looks like in your life right now. And step 3, describe the freedom you want instead. How do you want things to be? That description, that's your destination. Okay, let's make this totally real. To see how this works in practice, we're going to look at an example from a recovery plan for a guy named Zach, who was really struggling after he lost his job.
Okay, look at the difference here. It's incredible. On the left, in his survival pattern, Zach's self-worth is totally wrapped up in his job. He feels like a failure. But look to the right. His freedom goal is all about internal validation. He's working toward trusting himself, knowing he's done his best, and being able to accept love because he knows deep down he's worthy of it. That shift from looking outside for your value to finding it inside, that's an absolute game changer.
So once you've created your self-care plan and you've mapped out your recovery path, you're not just crossing your fingers and hoping for change anymore. No, you are prepared. You have your tools. You have your map. You are absolutely ready for the next stage of this journey.
I just think this image captures the feeling perfectly. It's like you're standing at the starting line of an obstacle course. You can see the challenges up ahead. Maybe there's a river of bad relationships or some quicksand of addiction. It's not going to be a walk in the park. But the entire point of all this preparation is that you've been training for this. You have the tools, you have the map. And that makes getting to that peak, that place of health and fulfillment, totally, completely possible.
So as we wrap this up, let's just lock in these key takeaways. First, preparation and planning are your best friends on this journey. They are the keys to your success. Second, that daily self-care plan, that's how you steadily build strength and hope, one day at a time. Third, your recovery plan is your personal, clear map from where you are to where you want to go. And last, but maybe the most important thing to remember, you are not alone in this. Millions of people, just like you, have walked this path and recovered from very similar challenges.
And that brings us to our final question. And honestly, it might be the most important one. Because this isn't just about thinking about things, it's about doing things. You have your plan, you have your tools. So what is the very first small step, and I mean, no matter how tiny it seems, that you're going to take today to get started?